The 1940 team finished 6-2, led once again by running back Cecil Blackwell, who, it was said, was the fastest back on the team and the best running back in Alabama. Cecil scored all 3 touchdowns in a 21-0 shutout win over UMS. Dean Hansen, longtime public address announcer at Foley games, played on the 1940 team and recalled watching Blackwell score one of those touchdowns.
I remember playing UMS that year, and we played them here in Foley, and I don't remember who won that game, but I do remember Cecil Blackwell taking a handoff or a pitch from the quarterback and running to his left side. He was about on the UMS 40-yard line, and he got boxed up over there, and instead of allowing him to tackle him, he turned around and started running back to the other side, and he had to keep fading back to when he was probably as far back as our own 35 or 40-yard line before he was able to make the turn and start down the right side of the field. And he ran that ball in for a touchdown, a tremendous run. He was just that fast.
The team won their last 5 games, including a thrilling 14-12 victory at Fairhope, the first ever night game played under the lights in Baldwin County. E.K. Manning became the Lions coach in 1941. He was a graduate of the University of Alabama and coached the previous 3 seasons at Huntsville High School. One of the biggest wins that year was against Crestview, Florida.
The Foley Lions on Friday night defeated Crestview 6-0. This game gave the Foley Lions their first taste of victory, and it is hard to say what they might do in the future gridiron matches, for they are getting peppier every play. The Onlooker, October 23, 1941.
The Lions closed the 1941 season with a 26-0 loss to an undefeated Jackson High School team. Making the trip with the Jackson squad was a 14-year-old young man by the name of Ivan Jones. In 1942, Coach Manning's squad rebounded with an impressive 6-1-1 record and the coveted county championship. The Lions beat Baymonette and Fairhope twice that year, shutting them out both times.
Foley's football team played its best game of the year in Fairhope last Friday night. The Foley squad gained more than 350 yards from scrimmage. Foley's fans were thrilled over the powerful running of Joe Calloway. This boy refused to be stopped and gained many yards after being hit by one or more tacklers. The Onlooker, November 5th, 1942.
"1943 saw Joseph Boyd take over as the team's new coach. Coach Boyd was an ensign in the Navy stationed at nearby Barron Airfield, and he had 2 other Navy ensigns as assistants. With wartime restrictions on travel, the team played only 5 games, finishing with a respectable 3-1-1 record. The team started slow but came back to win their last 3 games, beating Fairhope twice and also beating a strong Pensacola team.
Foley's football team won its 3rd straight game in Fairhope last Thursday. This was the hardest game of the season for the local boys. Fairhope's team is much heavier, and the local lads took a great deal of punishment in order to come out on top of a 12-6 score. The Onlooker, November 11th, 1943.
Ray M. Davis took over as head coach in 1944. According to accounts, he had been an assistant coach at the University of Alabama. Pete Blackwell, then an 8th grader, remembered Coach Davis.
Came in there. He was a big guy and he was tough. And the University of Alabama, and came in and coached just 1 year. It was in when I was in the 8th grade. That was 44, I believe it would be 44. He came here, and he was tough. Folks, it was the toughest I ever seen. And he said one afternoon, his daughter walked across the field, and they lived right behind we still had the wooden fence around the stadium. And Coach Davis lived on that'd be the north side of the field, playing field. And his daughter, which was a real pretty girl, she walked across the field doing practice one afternoon, probably around 3:30, something like that maybe, and one of our players whistled at her. I'm not going to say his name, maybe, but he said, Coach Davis, he said, "Good Lord, to give me strength not to kill that SOB for whistling at my daughter. If he ever does again," he said, "I will do that." And that's so much for that there. Nobody whistle at his daughter when she crossed that field no more. And he was a tough coach everywhere. Sometimes he would he'd take the football if somebody wasn't tackling real good. He said, "You tackle me, son, I'll show you how to run over you." He'd take that ball and run over like somebody, Jack Moore, one of our best defensive linemen, guys like that, or Thomas Odom maybe, or Tom Anderson or something like that, or Joe Beach, and those guys were good. They pretty tough balls themselves. He'd run, take that ball and just run over and stone them. And he'd show them what he could do. I guess he was a good college football player himself. He was a hell of a coach, I can say that for him. And he taught me a few lessons. I know that, not to whistle any girl going across the field.
Coach Davis led the Lions to a 7-1 record and another county championship in his only season as head coach. "1945 brought an end to World War II and the beginning of an 8-year stint with Bill Meredith as head coach. Coach Meredith had been a star end at Memphis State University, and this was his first coaching job after the war. The Lions would lose only 1 game that year and played the first ever night game at Foley Stadium. Future Lions Edsel Anderson, Larry Underwood, and Bud Flowers, members of the 1950 and 51 teams, remember attending this first night game as 7th graders.
Well, I remember the Robertsdale Foley game. Back then, they played at Robertsdale, and then they came to Foley play. Same with Fairhope, same with Bay Minette. Well, they were playing here, Robertsdale, and I was 7th grader. And at that particular time, they had a woven wire fence around it with regular wood posts. So I was standing watching the ball game, and they started a fight out there. And the story goes, and I'm not sure this is true, but Buck Benton told me somebody threw dirt in his eyes, and he retaliated, and then they all started fighting. Well, I was there at the fence, and all of the Foley people started going over the fence, and they stepped on my hands there, and I thought they were going to cut them off. They tried to get over the fence to get into that fight.
They did. I remember that. I think That was the first night we had lights. You know, I think they just put the lights up. They up until that time they played in the daytime.
In the afternoon.
Yeah.
So were y'all there the first night game?
Yes.
What do you remember about that?
That fight.
So, fight that first night.
I remember that. They cleared both benches, just cleared, and they went at it.
Now, Keith, back then too, Mr. George Strong was the assistant principal. Well, he was from Robertsdale, and when the fight broke out, I was standing by the fence like Edsel, scared to death. I wasn't about to get on the field because I was so young. But Mr. George jumped the fence and went out there and was pulling players up because he knew a lot of the kids from Robertsdale, you know. But he was grabbing them by the shoulder pads, pulling them off, and he'd get two separated, run over and get another pile. And we laughed at, I didn't laugh, but I thought, now, here's a man, he must have been in, gosh, in his 60s. He was old, and he was out there pulling, trying to separate them. But it was.
And that was at the very first night game.
Yes.
How good were the lights that very first game?
Not too good. Nothing like they are now.
No.
I tell you.
The Lions would end up with 5 wins, 1 loss, and 2 ties, claiming a share of the county championship.